Let's go to the code 1472, design browser history. For the question, let's implement to design a browser. For this browser, there is a constructor which have the home page. So we need to implement the wait method and the back and forward method. So the wait URL from the current page, and it clear up all the forward history. That is, for example, if we have a wait here, because we are able to use the back. So if we are at this position and we are going to set wait the next position to URL with it, then clear all of the forward. And the back is that for example, we at this position, we can go back to the previous histories. And the things that you will only return X steps. If you can only return X steps, that means if the steps is a bigger number, right? You can only return the first set you visit. And the forward is that it's, for example, you are at this position, right? And then you can go to the one you visited in a forward direction. The thing is that if we have some kind of visited, right, clear some of the history, right? So we are just possibly have only this kind of sets. So forward can only goes to this set, not in some of the previous one, right? So we can use this list in two index. One is current index, which means the positions of the URL in the list which currently we stay in, and also the end index. Because the thing is that if why we need an end index is that because if we have go backward to some position, and now there is an wait position, right? And instead of to remove all of the rest of URL from the list, we can just use an end index to say that this is the one which is taking effective, right? So in this case, if we have end index, in this case, we for the wait, right? We have two kind of scenario. One is our current index is at the end of the list. Then what we do is that just append, right? And another scenario is that our index is in the middle of the part. So what we do is that our we just set this kind of index +1 to a new URL and set the end to this current +1, right? So that we don't need to remove the rest. So after this analysis, we can write code. We're going to have a list. This string as a URL, right? List. And we need a current index equals the initial set as -1 and the end index equals -1, right? And list equals new array list. And we are going to have list. We're going to use this one, visited. We can use list at home page, or we can implement the wait first. we can implement implement the wait so that we can use visit homepage because this function should be the same. So that means that if current doesn't equal to list dot size -1, right? That means in a list, we may in the middle of that part, what we do is that we are going to set the current +1 to be a new URL. Otherwise, we just add the new URL to a list. So what we do is that we are going to have a list set current +1 to be URL. Right? Otherwise, we are going to else that is list add URL. And when we add this, our current index and end index will all be moved, right? Current should increase by 1, and the end will be current. So for back, what we do is that our current should be max.max 0, right? So we cannot be a negative one, current minus status. And the return list get current. So for forward, what we do is the current equals max.min. We cannot more than n, right? So that will be current plus steps in the return list get current, right? Doing like this, every operation will be O1 operation. Python. So we are going to have self dot history equals list, right? And the self dot current equals -1. Self dot end equals -1, right? And self related. We can also put, for example, self current or self end equals 0 and add a history the homepage, right? But we just we can call the wait method here, homepage. Then for wait, what we do is that if self dot current doesn't equal to the last one, right? Length self dot history -1, right? Then what we do is that we need to set. So set the value. So self dot history self dot current +1 equals URL. And else that we are going to use the self dot history append URL. And after this, what we do is we should have self dot current should plus equal to 1, and self dot end equals self dot current. And for the back, what we do is that self dot current. We need the index. We can not be negative number, right? So it should be max 0 self dot current minus steps, and return self dot history self dot current. So forward is that self dot current equals main and self current plus steps, right? Return self dot history self dot current. Validate the syntax at the line ITREGURA, right? Visit, not visited. I implemented this method called visit.